The silver probe moved through space like a metal fish swimming through black water. Inside its small brain, numbers and data flowed like rivers. The probe had one job: find new worlds and check if anyone lived there. Quilnak sat in his lab chair, his 6 bug-like arms typing on different screens at once. His big black eyes watched the data coming from the probe. As the head scientist for the Galactic Council, he had seen many worlds. Most were empty. Some had simple life. A few had smart beings who could talk and build things. But this new world was different. "Sir," said his helper, a young scientist named Vextal, "the probe found something strange." Quilnak's head turned. His antenna twitched with interest. "Show me." The big screen in front of them lit up with pictures from the probe. The world looked blue and green, covered with water and land. Clouds moved across its surface like white cotton. "The probe says, 'This is a Class X death world,'" Vextal said, his voice shaking a little. Quilnak's blood went cold. Class X was the worst rating any world could get. It meant the world was so dangerous that almost nothing could live there. The few beings who did survive on such worlds usually lived deep underground or behind thick walls, always hiding from the deadly creatures above. "Are you sure?" Quilnak asked. "Yes, sir. The probe found creatures that can kill with poison, giant hunters with big teeth, flying beasts that can see for miles, water monsters bigger than our ships. The whole world is full of things that want to kill and eat everything else." Quilnak nodded. This was normal for a death world. "And the smart beings? Do they hide in caves? Do they live in metal cities with big walls?" Vextal looked confused. "That's the strange part, sir. The probe thinks it found the smart beings, but they're not hiding." "What do you mean?" "Look at this." The screen changed. Now it showed the blue water of the planet's ocean. A metal cage hung in the water, and inside the cage was a being the probe had marked as the smart species. The being looked soft and weak, with no fur, no sharp teeth, no claws. It had only thin skin and small muscles. But that was not the strange part. Swimming around the cage were 3 huge creatures. They were longer than 2 probe ships put together. Their mouths were full of teeth like white knives. The probe's data said these were called great white sharks, and they were apex hunters of the water. The smart being in the cage had no fear. Instead, he was doing something impossible. He was feeding the giant sharks by hand. "This cannot be." "Right," Quilnak said. "Run the scan again." The probe did another scan. The result was the same. The being in the cage was calm and happy. The sharks were not trying to eat him. Instead, they were swimming close to him like pets swimming close to their owner. "Sir, there's more," Vextal said. The screen showed another part of the ocean. A female of the smart species was in the water with no cage at all. She wore only a thin layer of artificial skin that the probe said was called a diving suit. Next to her swam a shark even bigger than the others. The female reached out her hand. The giant killer fish came close and let her touch its nose. Then, it swam away and came back with a smaller shark. The female touched that one too. "The probe's brain is broken," Quilnak said. "This is impossible. No being can touch apex hunters and live." But the probe ran check after check. All systems worked fine. The data was real. Vextal pulled up more files. "Sir, the probe found the smart beings all over the planet. And everywhere it looks, they are doing the same thing." New pictures filled the screen. Smart beings walking next to huge land hunters with yellow fur and big teeth. Smart beings sitting with black and white water creatures that the probe said could kill whales. Smart beings sleeping next to gray animals with sharp teeth that hunted in groups. In every picture, the smart beings looked safe and happy. The deadly creatures looked calm and friendly. "This breaks every rule we know," Quilnak said. His voice was quiet, like he was talking to himself. "On every death world we have found, the smart beings fight the hunters or hide from them. They never make friends with them." The probe sent more data. It had tried to understand what was happening by watching one smart being for a whole day. The being was called Hyunwoo Park, according to the probe's translation system. Hyunwoo worked in the water studying the sea creatures. He swam with creatures that could kill him in one bite. He touched animals that had poison in their skin. He went into dark caves where monsters with many arms lived, but none of the creatures hurt him. Instead, they seemed to know him. Some came when he called. Others moved away when he pointed. A few even seemed to play with him like young animals playing with their family. "Get me a full team," Quillnack said. "We need to study this world right now." "Sir, should we contact the council first?" "Yes, but tell them this is priority 1. We may have found something that changes everything we know about how life works." Quillnack looked at the screen again. Hyunwoo was now swimming next to a creature the size of a building. The probe said it was called an octopus, and that it was smart enough to solve puzzles and open containers. It could change color to hide, and had arms strong enough to crush metal. But instead of crushing Hyunwoo, the giant creature was wrapping one arm around him gently, giving him a ride through the water. "Send this message to the council," Quillnack said. "We have found a Class X death world with smart beings who do not fear their planet's apex hunters. Instead, they appear to have formed some kind of friendship bond with them. We need to understand how this is possible. If these beings can make friends with their world's most dangerous creatures, we need to know their secret." Vextal sent the message. Within minutes, a reply came back from the council. "Study approved. Send full research team immediately. Exercise. Extreme caution. If beings can bond with Class X predators, their abilities are beyond our understanding." Quillnack looked at the screen one more time. Hyunwoo was now back on his boat, but 3 sharks were swimming next to it. They stayed, close like guard dogs protecting their human friend. "Pack the research ship," Quillnack told his team. "We're going to visit the impossible world where smart beings adopt their predators instead of running from them." As the probe continued watching, more impossible scenes played out. The beings called humans were everywhere on their dangerous world, living side by side with creatures that should have eaten them long ago. Something was very different about these humans, and Quillnack was going to find out what it was. 3 weeks later, a big research ship moved through space toward the blue and green world. Inside the ship, Vorthai checked her equipment for the 10th time that day. As the best xenobiologist in the galaxy, she had studied life on hundreds of worlds, but none of those worlds had prepared her for what she was about to see. "Ship is ready to hide," said the pilot. "We can watch the humans without them seeing us." Vorthai nodded. Her purple skin changed color slightly, showing she was nervous. "Good. We need to be very careful. If these humans can make friends with their world's killers, we don't know what else they can do." The ship became invisible and moved into orbit. Around Earth, Vorthai and her team of 6 scientists looked down at the world below. It looked beautiful from space, but they knew it was full of death. "Where do we start?" asked Dr. Kethen, the team's psychology expert. "The probe gave us several locations where humans live with predators," Vorthai said. "We'll start with the cold lands in the north." The first place they studied was in Mongolia. The land was covered with snow and ice. Nothing should be able to live there except the strongest creatures. The team's sensors found a small building in the middle of nowhere. "Life signs detected," said Meltara, the team's scanner operator. "1 human and... Wait, that can't be right. What is it?" 15 large predators. The computer says they are wolves, pack hunters with sharp teeth and strong jaws. Vorthai felt cold fear in her stomach. "Is the human dead?" "No, sir. The human appears to be sleeping." They focused their cameras on the building. Inside, they could see a human male lying on a simple bed. Around him, 15 gray wolves lay on the floor. The wolves were not eating the human. They were not even watching him like he was food. Instead, they were protecting him. "Run a full scan," Vorthai ordered. "I want to know everything about this human." The computer worked for several minutes. Then it displayed the results. Human designation, Young-Soo Lee. Age, 34 years. Occupation, wolf sanctuary operator. Lives alone with wolf pack for past 8 years. 8 years, Dr. Kethen said. He has lived with 15 apex predators for 8 years? They watched as Young-Soo woke up. The wolves around him lifted their heads. The biggest wolf, A male with silver fur came to Young-Soo and put his head on the human's lap. Young-Soo petted the wolf like it was a small, harmless animal. Then Young-Soo stood up and walked outside. All 15 wolves followed him. They did not walk behind him like servants. They walked beside him like family members. "This is impossible," Vorthai said. "Wolves are pack hunters. They should see a lone human as easy food." But as they watched, something even stranger happened. Young-Soo made sounds with his mouth and the wolves responded. When he pointed to the left, some wolves went left. When he pointed to the right, others went right. When he made a high sound, they all came back to him. "He's the pack leader," Dr. Kethan said, his voice full of wonder. "Somehow this human has become the alpha of a wolf pack." "That's not possible. Humans are not wolves. They don't have the right instincts." But the evidence was right in front of them. Young-Soo was not just living with the wolves. He was their leader. The team moved their ship to Australia, a land the probe had marked as extremely dangerous. Here they found something even more shocking. Hae-Won Choi stood waist-deep in muddy water. Next to her floated a creature 20 feet, long with jaws that could bite a tree in half. The probe's data said it was a saltwater crocodile, one of Earth's oldest and most dangerous predators. Hae-Won was not afraid. She was feeding the monster by hand. "Scanner now," Vorthai ordered. Dito, computer showed that Hae-Won worked as a crocodile conservationist. She spent every day in the water with creatures that could kill her in seconds. But instead of killing her, the crocodiles seemed to listen to her voice. When Hae-Won made clicking sounds, the big male crocodile swam closer. When she whistled, he opened his mouth wide, showing teeth like white daggers. But he did not bite her. Instead, she cleaned his teeth with a long brush. "The predator is letting her clean its teeth," Meltara said. "This is beyond impossible. This is insane." They watched for hours. Hae-Won worked with 5 different crocodiles. Each one was big enough to eat her whole. But they all acted calm around her. When she called their names, they came to her. When she pointed to where she wanted them to go, they went there. "Move us to Africa," Vorthai said. Her voice was shaking now. In Kenya, they found Jinnah Nam. She worked at a place called a Big Cat Rescue. The team's cameras showed her walking through an open area where lions, tigers, and leopards moved freely. These were the apex predators of the land. Each one could kill a human in one swipe of their claws. Each one was designed by evolution to hunt and kill. But when Jinnah walked among them, they rubbed against her legs like house pets. A huge male lion weighing more than 3 humans came to her and put his massive head under her hand. She scratched behind his ears, and the deadly beast made a sound like a motor running. She raised them from babies, the computer reported, after scanning her history. The lions and tigers think she is their mother. "Mother?" Dr. Kethan said. "But she's a different species." A tiger, striped orange and black, came to Jinnah carrying something in its mouth. It was a dead antelope. The tiger dropped the meat at Jinnah's feet like a gift. "The predator is bringing her food," Vorthai said. "It's treating her like family." The most shocking discovery came when they found Dong-Hyun Kang in South America. He worked with snakes, not just any snakes, but the most poisonous snakes in the world. Dong-Hyun sat quietly in a room full of glass boxes. Inside each box was a snake that could kill 10 humans with one bite. But Dong-Hyun was not afraid. He opened one box and reached inside. The alien scientists expected to see him die instantly. Instead, a bright green snake with fangs full of poison slithered onto his arm like jewelry. The snake wrapped around Dong-Hyun's arm gently and stayed there. "Scan the snake," Vorthai ordered. "The snake's poison system is active," the computer reported. One bite would kill the human in minutes, but the snake shows no signs of wanting to bite. Dong-Hyun moved to another box. This snake was even more deadly. It was black and red, and the computer said its poison could kill in seconds, but when Dong-Hyun reached for it, the snake came to him willingly. Soon Dong-Hyun had 5 poisonous snakes wrapped around his arms and shoulders. Each one could end his life instantly. but they all acted calm and peaceful. This breaks every law of nature we know, Vorthai said. Predators do not act like this. They kill or they run. They do not make friends. Dr. Kethun was studying the data from all their observations. I think I understand part of it, he said. The humans are not controlling these predators with fear or force. They're doing something else. What? They're forming emotional bonds. Each human cares about their predators, and somehow, the predators care back. Vorthai looked at the screen showing all the impossible scenes they had recorded. Humans living with wolves, swimming with crocodiles, playing with lions, handling deadly snakes. Emotional bonds across species lines, she said slowly. That should be impossible. Different species cannot form real friendships. But that's exactly what we're seeing, Dr. Kethun said. These humans have found a way to communicate with predators on an emotional level. They're not just surviving on their death world. They're thriving because they turned their enemies into allies. Vorthai sent a priority message to the council. Human species possesses unknown ability to form cross-species emotional bonds with apex predators. This trait appears to be how they survived on their Class X world. Recommend immediate deep study. If humans can make friends with their world's most dangerous creatures, we need to understand how. As night fell on Earth, the alien scientists watched something that made them question everything they knew about life and survival. All across the planet, deadly predators were sleeping peacefully next to the soft, weak humans who should have been their prey long ago. The Galactic Council was not happy with Vorthai's report. They sent their best mind expert, Dr. Mendrix, to figure out what was really happening on the human world. Mendrix was different from the other aliens. His people were known for understanding how minds worked. He could look at any smart being and know what they were thinking and feeling. But humans were something new. Show me everything again, Mendrix said when he arrived on the research ship. Vorthai played all their recordings. Mendrix watched humans living with wolves, crocodiles, big cats, and poisonous snakes. His 3 eyes moved quickly as he studied each scene. Interesting, he said. These humans are not controlling the predators. They are not using fear or tricks. They are doing something much more complex. What do you mean? Vorthai asked. They are making family bonds with creatures that are not their family. This should be impossible, but somehow they are doing it. Mendrix wanted to study one human very closely. They picked Sujin Park, who worked with elephants in Thailand. Elephants were not meat eaters, but they were huge and dangerous. One elephant could crush a human without trying. Sujin worked at a place where old and hurt elephants came to live safely. She took care of 12 elephants, each one weighing as much as a small building. The alien scientists watched as Sujin walked among the giant creatures. The elephants were not afraid of her, even though she was tiny compared to them. Instead, they seemed happy to see her. Watch this, Mendrix said, pointing to the screen. Sujin was cleaning a big female elephant named Molly. The elephant stood very still while Sujin washed her skin with soap and water, but the amazing part was how they talked to each other. Sujin made soft sounds and Molly answered with low rumbles. When Sujin touched Molly's trunk, the elephant wrapped it gently around Sujin's arm. It was like watching 2 old friends talking, without words. The elephant trusts her completely, Mendrix said. Look at the body language. The elephant could kill her in 1 second, but instead it's being very careful not to hurt her. Then something happened that made all the alien scientists gasp. A group of bad humans with guns came to the elephant sanctuary. They wanted to steal the elephant's ivory tusks. Sujin saw the danger first. She made a loud call and all 12 elephants came running. But they did not run away from the danger. They ran toward Sujin. The elephants formed a circle around Sujin with their backs facing out. Their tusks pointed at the bad humans like spears. The biggest male elephant, called Somchai, stood right in front of Sujin and made a sound like thunder. They are protecting her, Vorthai said in wonder. The elephants think she is part of their herd. The bad humans ran away when they saw 12 angry elephants ready to fight for Sujin. After the danger was gone, the elephants turned around and gently touched Sujin with their trunks, making sure she was not hurt. This is the breakthrough we needed, Mendrix said. The elephants have accepted her as family. When she was in danger, they protected her like she was their own child. But Mendrix wanted to see more. They moved their ship to study Wu Bin Jiang, who worked with orcas in the cold northern waters. Orcas were called killer whales, and they lived up to their name. They were the top hunters of the ocean, smart enough to plan attacks and strong enough to kill almost anything in the water. Wu Bin worked on a research boat studying how orcas lived and hunted. He had been working with the same pod of orcas for 5 years. The pod had 8 adult orcas and 3 babies. "This is very dangerous," Dr. Kethen said. "Orcas are smart hunters. They could easily kill a human." But when Wu Bin put on his diving suit and went into the water, the orcas came to meet him like old friends. The biggest male, weighing 8 tons, swam right up to Wu Bin and floated next to him. Wu Bin reached out and touched the massive creature's side. The orca stayed very still, letting the tiny human pet him like a giant dog. "Incredible," Mendrix said. "The orca is being gentle on purpose. It knows the human is fragile." The other orcas came to visit Wu Bin too. The female orcas brought their babies to show him. The baby orcas were playful and swam around Wu Bin in circles. Then disaster struck. Wu Bin's air equipment broke while he was underwater. He could not breathe and was too deep to swim to the surface quickly. The alien scientists watched in horror, expecting to see Wu Bin die. But something amazing happened instead. The big male orca saw that Wu Bin was in trouble. He swam under the human and pushed him up toward the surface. 2 female orcas helped, swimming on both sides of Wu Bin to guide him up. They pushed Wu Bin all the way to his boat and held him at the surface until his team could pull him out of the water. "They saved his life," Fourth Eye said, her voice full of shock. "The orcas rescued him." After Wu Bin was safe on the boat, the orcas stayed close. They floated near the boat and made clicking sounds. Wu Bin leaned over the side and touched each orca's head, thanking them for saving him. "This changes everything," Mendrix said. "These orcas have formed a real bond with this human. They care about his safety more than their own hunting instincts." The final test came when they studied Yunji Han, who worked with birds of prey. These were flying hunters with sharp claws and beaks like knives. Yunji worked at a place where hawks, eagles, and falcons came to get better. She had 20 different birds, each one designed to kill from the sky. The aliens watched as Yunji worked with a golden eagle named Hanul. The eagle was huge, with wings that could spread wider than Yunji was tall. Its claws could tear through metal and its beak could crack bones. But when Yunji held out her arm, Hanul landed on it gently. The eagle was very careful not to hurt her with his sharp claws. "Watch this," Mendrix said. Yunji made a whistling sound and Hanul flew up into the sky. He circled high above, then came back when she whistled again. The eagle landed on her arm like he had done it 1,000 times before. But the real test came when a wild dog tried to attack Yunji while she was working outside. Before she could run, Hanul screamed and dove from the sky. The golden eagle hit the wild dog with his claws and drove it away from Yunji. Other birds joined the fight. Hawks and falcons came flying from their cages to help. They all worked together to protect their human friend. "They are defending her," Mendrix said. "These predators see attacks on the human as attacks on their own territory." After studying dozens of humans and their predator friends, Mendrix finally understood what was happening. "I have to create a new word for this," he told the research team. "Humans have something I'm calling pack bonding. They can form emotional connections with any creature, even creatures that should be their enemies." "How is that possible?" Fourth Eye asked. "I think it's how they survived on their dangerous world," Mendrix said. "Instead of fighting all the predators or hiding from them, humans found a third choice. They made the predators into friends and family." "But that's impossible. Different species cannot care about each other like family." Mendrix looked at all the data they had collected. Humans sleeping with wolves, swimming with orcas, walking with elephants, flying with eagles. "Tell that to the humans," he said. "They seem to have made the impossible happen every day for thousands of years." The research ship sent another message to the council. "Humans possess unique ability called pack bonding. They can form family-like emotional connections with any species, including apex predators. This trait allowed them to survive on Class X, Deathworld, by converting enemies into allies. Recommend further study of this unprecedented evolutionary development. The Galactic Council wanted proof. They did not believe that humans could really make friends with every type of predator on their world, so they ordered Mendrix to make a complete list of all human-predator bonds. "We need to document everything," the Council said in their message. "If this pack bonding is real, we must understand how far it goes." Mendrix divided his research team into groups. Each group would study a different part of Earth and different types of predators. They called their work the Adoption Files, because humans seemed to adopt every dangerous creature they met. The first team went to the Arctic, the coldest place on Earth. Here, nothing should be able to live except the strongest and most dangerous creatures. They found Seung-ho Kim living in a small research station surrounded by ice and snow. "What predators could possibly live in this frozen wasteland?" asked Dr. Veltar, the team leader. They got their answer when a huge white shape appeared on their cameras. It was a polar bear, the biggest land predator on Earth. The bear weighed as much as 10 humans and had claws like black knives. But Seung-ho was not afraid when the giant bear walked up to his station. Instead, he went outside to meet it. "He's going to be killed," Veltar said, watching the screen. But the polar bear did not attack. Instead, it sat down in the snow like a giant white dog. Seung-ho sat down next to it and pulled out a notebook. He started writing notes about the bear while the massive predator sat quietly beside him. "The bear is letting him study it," Veltar said in amazement. "It's acting like a research partner, not a wild animal." They watched Seung-ho work with polar bears for 3 days. The bears came to him when he called. They let him put tracking devices on them. Some even let him check their health, opening their mouths so he could look at their teeth. "The bears trust him completely," Veltar reported to Mendrix. "They treat him like he belongs in the Arctic with them." The second team went to the Amazon rainforest in South America. This place was full of creatures that could kill in many different ways. They found Ji-Wan Lee working deep in the jungle, where the trees blocked out most of the sunlight. Ji-Wan studied jaguars, the top predators of the rainforest. These big cats were silent hunters that could climb trees, swim in rivers, and bite through the skulls of their prey. Dr. Zefal watched through her cameras as Ji-Wan walked through the jungle. She made soft, clicking sounds, and a spotted shape moved in the trees above her. A huge male jaguar dropped down from a branch and landed in front of Ji-Wan. The cat was beautiful but deadly, with muscles like steel cables under his spotted fur. "She's trapped," Zefal said. "Jaguars are ambush predators. She can't escape." But Ji-Wan did not try to escape. She reached into her backpack and pulled out a piece of meat. The jaguar came closer and took the food gently from her hand. Then something amazing happened. The jaguar started walking beside Ji-Wan like a house cat following its owner. When she sat down to rest, the jaguar lay down next to her. When she started walking again, the jaguar followed. "The jaguar is escorting her through the jungle," Zefal reported. "It's protecting her from other dangers." The third team studied the oldest predators on Earth. Changmin Park worked with crocodilians in the swamps of Florida. These creatures had not changed for millions of years. They were living dinosaurs with brains that only cared about eating and surviving. Dr. Nexum expected these ancient predators to be impossible for humans to bond with. But he was wrong. Chang Min worked with American alligators in a swamp where the water was dark and full of hidden dangers. The alligators were smaller than the saltwater crocodiles they had seen before, but they were still deadly. "Alligators are supposed to be pure predators," Nexum said. "They have no emotions except hunger and anger." But when Changmin called out across the swamp, 5 alligators came swimming toward him. They moved through the water like living logs, their eyes glowing in the dark water. Changmin stepped into the water and the alligators surrounded him. But they did not attack. Instead, they floated quietly while he checked each one for injuries or sickness. Even the oldest predators on Earth respond to human pack bonding, Nexum reported. These creatures have brains that are millions of years old, but somehow they still recognize humans as friends. The most shocking discovery came from the Deep Ocean team. Ye-Jin Choi worked in the deepest parts of Earth's oceans, places where no sunlight ever reached. Here lived creatures that looked like monsters from nightmares. Dr. Quexara watched from the research ship as Ye Jin went down in a small submarine. The ocean around her was pitch black except for the strange lights that some deep-sea creatures made with their own bodies. "Nothing should be able to live down there," Quexara said. "And anything that does live there should be completely alien to surface creatures like humans." But even in the deepest, darkest parts of Earth's oceans, Ye Jin had made friends. Giant squid with arms longer than the submarine came to investigate her lights, but instead of attacking the small vessel, they gently touched it with their tentacles. "The deep-sea creatures are curious about her," Quexara said. "Even in Earth's most alien environment, predators are responding to human presence in a friendly way." The final and most amazing discovery came when they studied Minho Jung's Wildlife Center. This place was like a summary of everything they had learned about human pack bonding. Minho had created a place where many different types of predators lived together peacefully. Wolves shared space with big cats. Bears played near birds of prey. Reptiles basked in the sun while mammals walked by without fear. "This should be chaos," Mendrick said as he watched the cameras. "All these predators together should create a war zone." But instead, it was peaceful. The secret was Minho himself. He had formed bonds with every single animal in the center. The wolves saw him as their pack leader. The big cats treated him like their pride member. The bears considered him family. The birds came when he called. When feeding time came, Minho walked among all the different predators carrying buckets of food. A wolf walked on his left side. A leopard walked on his right. An eagle sat on his shoulder. A young bear followed behind him like a puppy. "He has created a multi-species pack," Mendrick said in wonder. "All these different predators have accepted him as their leader and each other as packmates." The most incredible moment came when a new animal arrived at the center. It was an injured mountain lion that had never met humans before. The mountain lion was scared and angry, ready to fight anything that came near. But Minho did not approach the mountain lion directly. Instead, he brought his other animals with him. The wolves, leopards, bears, and eagles all gathered around Minho as he walked slowly toward the scared mountain lion. The mountain lion could see that all these other predators trusted the human. Slowly, carefully, the mountain lion began to calm down. Within an hour, it was eating food from Minho's hand. The other animals taught the newcomer to trust the human, Mendrick said. They passed on their pack bond to a completely new predator. After documenting hundreds of human-predator relationships, Mendrix had to create a whole new classification system. He called it Apex Symbiosis, a relationship where the strongest predators willingly gave up their hunting instincts to maintain friendship bonds with another species. "This is unprecedented in galactic history," Mendrix reported to the Council. "Humans have not just survived on their death world, they have transformed it. They have created a planet where apex predators choose cooperation over competition." The Council's response was immediate. "Document everything. If humans can form bonds with their world's most dangerous creatures, we must understand every detail of how they do it. Their abilities may change how we think about survival, evolution, and civilization itself." As the research teams continued their work, they realized they were not just studying an unusual species. They were witnessing something that had never happened before in the galaxy. A species that had turned their world's greatest threats into their greatest allies, through nothing more than friendship and trust. After months of studying humans and their predator friends, the Galactic Council sent one final order to Mendrix and his team. They wanted to know the biggest mystery of all. How did humans survive long enough to develop their pack bonding abilities? "Every other species on Deathworlds either dies out or hides underground," the Council's message said. "How did soft, weak humans live long enough to make friends with their predators?" Mendrix decided to study Earth's past. He used deep scanners to look at the planet's history, buried in rocks and ice. What he found changed everything they thought they knew about human evolution. "Look at this," he told his team, showing them ancient images on the screen. "These are human settlements from 50,000 years ago. The pictures showed early humans living in caves and simple shelters. But they were not alone. Around the human camps were the bones of wolves, bears, and giant birds. At first, the aliens thought these were the remains of battles, but closer study revealed the truth. The predator bones were buried with care, like honored family members. The human and predator bones were found together, showing they had lived, side by side for thousands of years. Early humans did not fight their predators, Mendrix said in amazement. They made alliances with them from the very beginning. Dr. Veltar found even more shocking evidence. Sir, look at these cave paintings. The ancient art showed humans hunting alongside wolves and giant cats. Other pictures showed humans riding on the backs of creatures that looked like huge bears. Some drawings even showed humans flying with massive birds. They did not just domesticate wolves, Veltar said. Early humans formed partnerships with saber-toothed cats, cave bears, and giant eagles, species that went extinct thousands of years ago. This discovery explained everything. Humans had not developed pack bonding after they became civilized. They had survived and become civilized because they had pack bonding abilities from the start. But the aliens' research was about to be interrupted in the most dramatic way possible. A massive storm hit Earth's northern ocean while the alien research ship was studying whale behavior. The storm was so powerful that it damaged the ship's hiding systems. Suddenly, the alien vessel became visible to humans. Worse, the storm pushed the ship toward Earth's surface. Warning alarms rang throughout the alien vessel as it crashed into the cold ocean waters. "Emergency!" shouted the pilot. "Ship is sinking. All crew to escape pods." Mendrix and his team of 8 scientists barely escaped their dying ship before it sank beneath the waves. They floated in the freezing water in their emergency suits, waiting for rescue ships from their fleet. But rescue was days away, and the storm was getting worse. "We're going to die," Dr. Kethun said, his voice shaking. "With cold and fear, the storm will kill us before our ships arrive." Through the wind and rain, they saw lights moving toward them. At first, they thought it might be their rescue fleet, but as the lights got closer, they realized it was something much more dangerous. Human boats were coming toward them. And the humans were not alone. Min Kyung Song stood at the front of the first boat, her hair whipping in the storm wind. Behind her, 6 gray wolves sat calmly despite the rough seas. The wolves were not afraid of the water or the storm. They were focused on the scent trail they had been following. "There!" Min Kyung shouted over the storm. "The wolves smell something in the water." The second boat carried Jae-hyun Kim and 3 golden eagles. Despite the terrible weather, the eagles flew out over the water, using their sharp eyes to search for survivors in the dark ocean. The third boat held So Young Park and her team of rescue dogs. The dogs barked and pointed toward the alien scientists, floating helplessly in their life suits. Mendrix watched in terror as the human boats surrounded them. He expected the humans to capture them or worse. After all, aliens had been spying on human civilization for months. But the humans did not attack. Instead, they threw ropes and life rings into the water. "Grab the ropes," Min Kyung shouted. "We'll pull you to safety." "But we are aliens," Mendrix said weakly, his translation device barely working in the water. "So what?" Min Kyung replied. "You're in trouble. That's all that matters." The humans pulled all 8 alien scientists out of the freezing water and onto their boats. They wrapped the aliens in warm blankets and gave them hot drinks. The predators that should have been dangerous to aliens instead helped keep them warm. The wolves lay down next to the shivering aliens, sharing their body heat. The eagles perched nearby, watching for other dangers. The rescue dogs licked the aliens' hands in a friendly way. "This is impossible," Dr. Veltar whispered to Mendrix. "They are saving us, and their predators are helping." But the most amazing part was still to come. When the Galactic Council's rescue ships finally arrived 3 days later, they found something that shocked them to their core. The alien scientists were not prisoners. They were guests. Hee-Jin Lee had brought her trained bears to help search for any other survivors. The huge creatures worked alongside humans, using their powerful noses to smell for anyone else who might need help. Sangwoo Park arrived with a pod of dolphins and whales. The marine mammals swam around the rescue ships, making sure no one else was drowning in the rough seas. When the council ships landed, their captains expected to negotiate for the return of their people. Instead, they found their scientists sitting around a warm fire, sharing food with humans and their predator companions. "We crashed in their ocean," Mendrix explained to the shocked rescue team. "They could have captured us or killed us. Instead, they saved our lives." Min Kyung-song stepped forward to speak with the alien captains. Her wolf pack stood beside her, calm and protective. "Your people are safe," she said through the translation device. "But we want to talk. We know you have been watching us for months." The council captains looked nervous. They had been caught spying on a species they did not understand. "We are not angry," continued Hyejin Lee, scratching behind the ears of a massive bear that sat next to her like a pet. "We're curious. Why? Were you studying us in secret? Why not just come and talk?" So Young Park spoke next while her rescue dogs wagged their tails at the alien visitors. "Our animals told us you were there. Dogs smell everything, eagles see everything, whales hear everything. We knew about your ship weeks ago." "Then why did you not attack us?" asked Captain Nextall of the rescue fleet. Sangwoo Park laughed, and the dolphins in the water clicked and whistled as if they were laughing too. "Attack you? Why would we do that? You were not hurting anyone, you were just watching and learning." "Besides," added Jae-hyun Kim as his eagles landed on his shoulders, "anyone who wants to learn about us cannot be completely bad. Good beings are curious about other beings." The alien captains realized they were witnessing the final proof of human pack bonding abilities. Not only had humans adopted their own planet's predators, but they had immediately tried to help alien visitors in trouble. "You saved our people even though we are strangers from another world," Captain Nextall said. "Of course we did," Min Kyung replied. "That's what people do. When someone needs help, you help them." Dr. Mendrix stood up, still wearing the warm clothes the humans had given him. "Captain, I need to send an urgent message to the council." The message read, "Human pack bonding abilities extend beyond their own species and even beyond their own planet. When alien visitors were in danger, humans immediately organized rescue operations using coordinated teams of apex predators. Humans did not see us as threats or invaders. They saw us as people who needed help. Recommendation: immediate diplomatic contact. Humans represent a completely new type of civilization based on cooperation rather than competition." As the alien ships prepared to leave, carrying the first official diplomatic messages between Earth and the galaxy, Min Kyung-song made one final statement that would be remembered for generations. "Tell your council that Earth is not a death world," she said, her wolf pack standing proudly beside her. "Earth is a home world, and everyone who comes in peace is welcome to share it with us and our family." The dolphins clicked their agreement. The eagles screamed their approval. The bears rumbled their support, and the wolves howled their welcome to the galaxy. Humanity had passed the ultimate test. They had not just survived their dangerous world by making friends with predators. They had created a new way of living that could include any being willing to be part of the pack. The galaxy would never be the same.